The following ideas, thoughts, views, and opinions expressed by the panel of this podcast are purely for entertainment purposes and are not meant to be taken seriously at all. If you are easily offended, this may not be the podcast for you.
Pussy.
Some of the conversation and themes of the show may be for mature audiences, so viewer discretion is advised. You have been warned. Enjoy the show.
Hello, fuckers and fuckettes. This is CJ from the CJ Show with my co-star, the B Mike.
The what?
The B Mike.
The fuck is B Mike? Oh, because I'm Mike too.
No, well, yeah, you're Mike too. Come on, I'm the A Mike. You said you were the star of the show, and you called yourself Beyonce, and you said that you're the beauty, and I'm the workhorse or some bullshit you said.
You're Michelle.
No, I'm A Mike.
I'm Beyonce and Kelly.
Damn, how you get to be both?
Because I'm a survivor.
So with the Apple Music Top 100 albums that were released,
Dun, dun, dun.
that everyone else is talking about, that we just don't really want to have to cover because everybody else has pretty much said everything that we were going to say. Let's call this the top 10 problems that we have with the Apple Music list. So my good man, Ant, can I get off?
You want me to get off? What the
I
fuck
said-
are you talking about?
I said kick it off.
Oh, I thought you said get off. I'm like, hey, yo, we're not that type of podcast, bro.
That explained the hearing aid that you have in.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm aging.
Clearly.
These are my in-ear monitors, you fucker. This fucking guy.
The top 10 things that Apple got wrong in their list of the 100 greatest albums of all time.
Okay. So, I mean, I read through the logistics as to what made them choose their albums. I really don't think that the panel that they had that chose these albums was really the ideal panel for a situation of this caliber. But
Okay.
anyway, I digress.
Why do you say that?
I felt like they were biased
Okay.
to certain albums.
To certain albums specifically, or to a certain genre, or to a certain
I think
time
I mean,
period?
if you look at it, right, there wasn't that much rock albums on there, right? There was a little bit more hip hop than there was rock. And there was a lot of rock albums that were pretty well known in history that kind of established things. But then there was also a lot of R&B albums that didn't make the cut. There's some albums, I think they said albums that made an impact. And I can see how some of the albums that were on that list made an impact. But then there was other albums that I felt made an impact as well that solidified an artist's career and didn't make that list.
Okay.
Number 10 for me, Songs About Jane by Maroon 5.
Okay. I can't argue with that. That is a great album.
Great
It's
fucking
classic.
album. What's your number 10?
For my number 10, they fucked up putting Confessions at 93. There are not 93 albums that are better than Confessions.
I could see that.
Like, what are we talking about?
100%. This is why I told you that. I think they were very biased towards particular genres and very biased towards the way they were going about things. I personally felt Good Kid, Mad City should have been a little bit higher on the list. But
Higher? It was, what, 8?
it was 8.
7?
I think it should have been top 5, but number 9.
Number
For
9.
me, Hybrid Theory, Linkin Park.
Okay.
Now, we're
Okay.
talking about Linkin Park's first album. We're talking about In the End, which everybody knows that song. Dun, 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 dun,
Yeah.
dun. Like, we're talking about a classic fucking album that was released twice and remixed with Jay-Z.
Okay.
How are we leaving Linkin Park off of this list?
That's fair. So for my number 9, they had Flower Boy at 92. Flower Boy by Tyler, the Creator. Not only do I think that Flower Boy is not one of the 100 greatest albums of all time, but it's not even Tyler, the Creator's best album. Because Flower Boy is not better than Igor.
I totally agree. My number 8 album, I'm going with A Fever You Can't Sweat Out, Panic at the Disco.
See, this is why I fuck with you, man. Okay.
I don't understand how we're talking about early 2000s alternative music. It was all over TRL. It was all over VH1. It was all over Much Music. It was all over TV in general. You're talking about the Linkin Park, Fall Out Boy, Gym Class Heroes, Panic at the Disco era, the Ocean Avenue by Yellow Card. We're talking about Fall Out Boy, which we mentioned. We're talking about My Chemical Romance. We're talking about POD. We're talking about Creed. We're talking about all these groups that were so big during this one part. Smash Mouth with All Star. We're talking about an era that was entirely skipped.
And that My Chemical Romance Black Parade album
Black
was
Parade was
insane.
crazy. Green Day, come on. Boulevard of Broken Dreams? You're telling me that
Yeah.
that song wasn't playing everywhere? I
Yeah.
walk a lonely road.
Yeah,
Come on.
I think that's kind of insane.
Now, on top of that, we're talking about Matchbox 20. We're talking about Rob Thomas. We're talking about Santana.
I would make the argument that a Black Eyed Peas album should be on there.
Of course, The End.
Yeah.
Freaking all their albums were classics. Come on.
The end would be the one for me.
What's your number 8?
For number 8, and perfect timing, Fall Out Boy Infinity on High. How did a top 100 albums list come out? And I mean, I saw where they had Carole King, the Tapestry album, which is a great album.
Yeah.
It's very classic. They had Alanis Morissette Jagged Little Pill album, which is classic. It defined an era. But if we're talking about era-defining albums, Infinity on High by Fall Out Boy is one of those.
Almost.
Like, that was their Abbey Road. And I just feel like they were one of the defining bands of that time period. And to not have that album in a top 100 list of albums all time is nuts. Completely.
Yeah.
So would you have at 7?
808s and Heartbreak. Kanye.
Okay.
We're talking about when Kanye basically brought the synthesizer and the 808s into music, and everybody started wanting to do it. When he brought that auto-tune into music as well, and everybody wanted to start doing it. 808s is just an epic album. 808s is that album that really created and changed the genre of music slightly.
Okay. I agree. That's better.
There we
I
go.
like how that sounds better.
There we go.
So what are we on? 7?
7.
At number 7, at number 7, with Dawn FM and After Hours being in The Weeknd's catalog, how does The Weeknd not have a single album that made it into the top 100?
You know, it's funny because my next one was the trilogy.
Number 6. What do you have for number 6?
Aaliyah by Aaliyah.
Okay. I think that's fair.
I don't even need to go into a reason why I think Aaliyah should have been on this list.
Not at all. I also think, and I understand why they left him off, but R. Kelly should have been on this list. Because 12 Play is better than almost every album that they have listed here. My number 6 problem that I had with this list. Marvin Gaye's What's Going On should have been much higher on this list.
There's a lot of things that should have been higher on this list.
I think it was 12 or 13. How is Marvin Gaye What's Going On not at least top 10?
How is Amy Winehouse Back to Black higher than that?
Okay, Back to Black is an incredible album, though. I don't know if it's better than Marvin Gaye, but Back to Black should also be top 10.
It's number 7.
Yeah, okay. That's placed right. I would put Marvin Gaye right at 8
Nirvana
or
was
6. 8 or 6. It should be right there, though. Like, it should never have fallen out of the top 10.
Okay.
Ever.
Next one for me. Graduation,
Number 5.
Kanye West.
Which one?
Graduation, Kanye West.
You know, I'm happy you brought that up. Number 5. How the fuck is Graduation by Kanye West not on this list?
I don't get it. I really don't get it. I really don't get it.
I think, and they can't say there were no duplicates because Prince was on here a couple of times.
Oh yeah, 100%. He
The
was there for
Beatles were on there a
Hawaii.
couple of times.
Yeah, they were there for Abbey Road, and they were there for something else.
Stevie Wonder was on there a couple of times, which is well deserved. But if you can have a artist that has multiple selections, I would argue that Kanye should have had at the very least 3 albums on this list. Graduation, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, and take your pick between College Dropout, Late Registration, and 808s and Heartbreaks. Kanye got so many fucking classics that it's hard to really determine what his top 3 is, and his top 3 are definitely going to be based on what you value most in an album. But you can't deny that all of those works of art are better than most of the albums that they had on this list.
You know what really got me? There was not any boy band from the boy band era on this list.
Well, those are pop albums. That wasn't really one of the list for the criteria was content, and like the content actually being like the spearhead of a movement or the spearhead of cultural relevance or something like that.
So we're gonna call the boy band era not a movement.
It's pop music though. It was gimmicky. It was bubblegum bullshit music.
Well, I say fuck you to the critics, and I put Millennium by Backstreet Boys on my list.
Okay, is that number 4?
Number 4.
Okay. At number 4, I need to know how it is that Frank Ocean's Blonde is number 5.
Oh, I don't get it.
How is Blonde better than Songs in the Key of Life? Like, what is going on? I love Blonde. Don't get me wrong. I don't think that Blonde is better than Channel Orange. I love Frank Ocean. I really, really do. But I think that, for the same reason that Lauryn Hill's Miseducation got ranked at 1, I think is the same thing that happened with Frank Ocean being ranked at 5 with Blonde, because they dropped so infrequently. Their bodies of work just get kind of overrated, and they're great albums. The Miseducation is one of the greatest albums of all time. I don't know if it's the best album of all time. It's my personal favorite album of all time after Thriller, but
Unbiased opinion.
Unbiased opinion, yeah. But speaking of Miss Lauryn Hill, how do you do a top 100 albums list and don't include the score by the Fugees?
I noticed that the Fugees were missing from that list.
Like, to me, I think that is just blasphemy. I think that is just blasphemy. That doesn't make any sense. It's one of the most ridiculous things that I have ever heard.
For my number 2, you kind of mentioned it, but I put Channel Orange by Frank Ocean.
Okay.
I think it was a better album than Blonde.
Entirely. I definitely think it was better than Blonde.
100%. I'm not sure how Blonde made it higher.
And I love Blonde. I really, really do. I think it was a better written body of work than Channel Orange was. But Channel Orange just had too many crossover appeal songs. It just had too many songs that were too fire to listen to. I love that Frank Ocean used the album to kind of just to say he was gay, and then just got all his gay shit off right on the album. But that album is fire. Shout out to Channel Orange. Shout out to Frank Ocean. I can't wait for his album to come out. I know he's working on something. It's been like 6 years.
Whenever that is.
He probably gonna make us wait until World War III or something.
100%.
So my number 2, how was Kendrick Lamar's To Pimp a Butterfly not on here? Like, if you read the criteria for what it is that they were looking for this list, it literally defines everything that To Pimp a Butterfly is. So the fact that it's not on here just seems like the list is invalid to begin with. And there's like a real level of stupidity with it being left off. So that's really disappointing.
You know what disappointed me?
What's that?
Not one Bruno Mars album on this list.
Is that your number one that Bruno Mars was missing?
No.
Oh.
My number one was actually Fearless by Taylor Swift.
Oh, you really are a Swiftie.
It's not about that, but
Wow.
that album solidified her career. That album created Taylor Swift as to what she is today. That album was just, it was all hits. Like, come on, that girl toured for years with just that one album.
Okay, good point. Number one for me, and I really don't know how they fucked this up, but how is Michael Jackson's Bad not on this list? Like, what? What?
I also think it's slightly racist that only one entirely Spanish album made this fucking list, which was Bad Bunny. Ricky Martin is missing. Enrique Iglesias.
I say that you come out with your own list of the top 10 greatest Hispanic albums. We'll do it for the podcast, and we'll call it the Mango List. I like it.
Mango list. That's why.
Yeah, we'll call it the Mango List.
That is
You know?
wild.
But all right, so that's our list. Top 10 things that Apple got wrong. Thanks for tuning in. Brief little episode for you guys, but check out the channel. We're on YouTube. We're on Spotify, TikTok, Instagram. Did I miss any?
No, I think we're good.
Reddit coming soon, or at least maybe. Check out the channel. Subscribe, like, share. Subscribe, like, share, comment, leave some notes. Tell us what you think. Thanks for tuning in. This has been the Ant and TJ Show.
And we are out.